So I'm really excited to bring in Heidi and to talk about mothers and Mother's Day and mothers in the media and mothers making media. So I'm going to bring her in, have her introduce herself, and then we're going to just talk. And if you guys want to join in by chatting in or like typing in any films that you think have a really great depiction of mothers, we would love to hear those so that we can continue to collect them, because I think it's really important that we have mothers' stories being told. And often we don't hear from them because Heidi and I realize we have a lot of tropes of the missing mom, and we want to make sure that we are highlighting movies and television shows and any form of media that has allows all of us to be seen. So yay, we're gonna have this moment where it gets a little late for Heidi to join. But in the meantime, make sure that you signed up for our newsletter and you're following us on social media. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great.
Excellent. Are you roasting in Southern California?
It's good. It's good weather.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're like me. You love the hot weather
Yeah.
because you're from Hawaii. So,
Good stuff.
so I know how awesome you are, but I thought maybe you could tell everyone how awesome you are and all the things that you have done in the world of media.
Yeah, my name's Heidi. I'm a longtime media educator. I was teaching film for about 12 years before I came down to LA. I'm down here supporting some Camp Real Stories programming down here. And really happy to be involved with what's going on up in Oakland as well. I'm glad to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, this is a really interesting conversation. So Heidi, I asked Heidi if she would join me, and then we kind of did a deep dive, which I think we both do because we both love media. And really the takeaway I feel is that we are not doing a great job of seeing moms. Like, you want to talk about like some of the things that you kind of found? I mean, as we were trying to highlight, like we wanted to be like, oh, here are our top mom films, but then we realized there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I mean, the first question was, what are some good films about moms? And I went negative right away. I was like, oh, no. Moms are always killed at the beginning of films. Like,
Yeah. We always are dying.
Yeah. Or like, there's that either the absent mom or the crazy mom that causes all of the problems that then creates the drama. And I was reading some writers talking about that, and something really poignant I found was that, well, if there was a really great mom helping the main character all along the way, then there wouldn't really be much drama. So, which is like, oh, that's funny. But actually, there's now a lot of great films that I've been able to find, where there's not just like a tropey great mom, but like a real mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I really like to see. And
I have two kids, and you have two boys, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, so not only are we media makers and media lovers, but like this cuts a little close to home when we don't see ourselves represented at all.
Right, right. And one of the things that comes up for folks is the issue of Disney films, especially a lot of Disney animations have the mom missing, or that's the initial driver of plot. That it's mom dies and then now what? Which is interesting. It can make for some interesting stories, but it's also kind of hard as a mom.
Yeah.
Like totally. Flipping through, like, what can I show? No, these make me sad. Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking about just this week for our family movie night, we watched one of my favorite movies, which is Captain Fantastic, but that mom's dead too. Like, it's even like movies that we love. Sorry, I'm gonna put this down. Like, we're just like not part of the story at all. And I do think that has something to do with how hard it is for women, but especially moms, to even make movies, because the system is completely set up to not support that.
Because I mean, it seems to me that more women in the writers' rooms would be able to more easily write stories with moms in them. And when the writers are missing from the behind the scenes, then a lot of times, maybe moms get added to the story because it's too complex. One thing about a mom character is that they tend to be extremely heavy and powerful in the story, that moms come with so much context. There can be just so much gravity towards a mom character that it might take away from the main character, which may be her child or something. So it's hard to like balance things out because mothers come with so much context. So many things are attached in people's minds to mothers, and so it would be easier to not have a mom in the story. Comes up.
Well, and that also sort of begs the question of like, why can't the story be about the mom? Because it's like the mom, like, it's just
Hero.
so, yeah, like it's,
Yeah.
it's very rare. I mean, if you do have them, they are, as you said, like one dimensional, or like evil or martyrdom, the martyr mom, and they don't really get a complex story that sort of allows them to have their own arc.
Yeah. So like a lot of mom characters are complete tropes.
Yeah.
There's the missing mom that we mentioned, but there's also the crazy mom. There's the evil matriarch. There's the evil stepmother.
Mm-hmm.
The loopy weird mom. There's a lot of mom tropes that really create the mom as a complicated character, which is interesting but super common.
Yeah.
And then there's these mom dichotomies that come up. There's the either she's a caregiver or she's a free spirit.
Yeah.
She has like a lot of freedom and is like going all over the place, or otherwise she's a caregiver and there's not both. Or
Yeah.
And then there's the good mother, bad mother dichotomy. Like you can't be both in the same story. There's just, you're one side of it, which is kind of disheartening to watch because it's like, well, what if you want to be a really devoted, super adventurous mom?
Yeah.
Because
totally,
those are
that
real.
could exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then like there's the moms being pitted against one another, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the stay-at-home mom and the working mom, and I do think that we see that play out in real life as well, where there is this like complex relationship often on the playground of like, or can be, of like who's better, what situation is better, when it really is like it just matters what works for you. But that seems to continue to play out, and it is just super frustrating. I remember seeing Amy Adrian, who we've had on some of the Real Story stuff, her film Half Picture, which I've seen several times, and a lot of which is about female filmmakers, female directors, and a lot of them are both parents and directors, and there's like, I've seen it several times where Jill Soloway says like, what does it really mean when we don't let moms tell stories? And like every time, like I get choked up over that line, but I was like, yeah, what does it? I mean, I'm paraphrasing. She's actually more eloquent than that, but like, what does it mean when we like don't get to tell, stories? And I feel like right now in particular, like we're still seeing like, in this particular moment in time where we're all locked down, like moms have like all of these responsibilities, and so they very rarely get to even have their own moments to themselves.
Yeah. And it hurts your creativity.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Because it's hard to be creative when you have 4 minutes. Like, like I was just like, and they're exhausted, and I'm not like, and most of the parents I know are not a particular like martyr, like woe is me, but it just is, your day just goes flying by, and creativity normally takes like a complex block of time.
Yeah.
And we don't have it. And we put it off, right? Like, oh, when your kids get older, or when blah blah, it's gonna happen. So yeah.
Some of the residencies that I find that I believe are the most magical things are the parents' residencies, where you have a stipend and childcare. And like whenever I find those, I send them everywhere, because those are the real residencies where the real happens.
Yeah. Well, and that's like a big thing. Sorry, I'm like literally texting my daughter as we're doing this, like, like, well, can you give them the blanket? So speaking of like multitasking, yeah, and that's with like film festivals as well. I think that Sundance is like the first one that offered childcare, right? And so like, and once they were able to offer childcare, then they had more women who showed up, right? Because they're like, oh, okay, great, like it's, like, I'm super excited that my film got in somewhere, but I don't know how to get there or pay for it.
Yeah.
So
find childcare in a place I'm not from.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just such a, yeah, it's so complex with like female filmmakers and trying, and you know, and even in the studio system. I mean, I know when I worked at Pixar, like it, you know, and all the directors were male at the time. Brenda Chapman was the only one, and like if they left early for a school thing, they got like, oh, that's what a good dad, and like all of the other women that worked there, if they left, and I didn't have kids when I worked there, but if they left early, it was like, well, are you really dedicated? Like,
That was a good choice to have kids.
yeah, yeah, totally.
You know, like as if it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, totally. And as if and I think like there's also just so like as if the hours that we work to make films it has to be that way. I mean, I do think on live action shoots, obviously, like you're like dealing with sun and going down or weather or whatever, but like I remember, you know, but many things are done in a controlled environment, and you can do them in a timely manner so that people can have both.
Right. Right. Yeah. What is the production company that's moms who do their work between school hours?
Yeah, there was, I don't know the name of that company, but there is Chrissy Mazzeo, who had helped out a lot with Real Stories. Like she shot a whole web series with all moms, and they worked only during school hours, and they got it done.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, so it's, you know, I think it's very complicated to try to like figure out why, you know, the whole system needs to be broken.
Yeah.
So
and we have friends of Real Stories that we've met through this work that are some really badass moms.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. So we had Rachel Morrison on our ad.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. So
yeah.
she's Black Panther and Mudbound DP.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think the first female DP to ever be nominated for an Academy Award.
And she was like 8 months pregnant when she wrapped, what was it, Against All Enemies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just.
So it turns out you can like totally do this. And Sarah Moshman, who's been a huge supporter of Real Stories, we've had her on several times. I mean, she made many, many incredible films and has a young child. Brenda Chapman, who is a dear friend and supporter of Real Stories, wrote Brave for her daughter. So it turns out it's possible, but we still find it difficult to like replicate, or it's always like what's it called, like a win. It doesn't happen all the time. Like, oh, that's a fluke. Yeah, you're like, oh, so well, in your like, do you have any like suggestions? I have a few, but
yeah, and it kind of starts with Brave.
Yeah.
That's such a sweet movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good, rich movie about a mother and a daughter, and the mom is super complex. Like she literally turns into a wild animal. And you know, like, it's so good. And so I feel like that's such a perfect movie about a mom. My favorite animated film about a mom is The Secret of Nim.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Mrs. Frisbee.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching that one, and it was such a perfect mom. I mean, I just showed it to my kids. I found a Spanish language version.
Yeah.
And oh, it's so sweet. I was like, they were like, this is okay. And I was like bawling. The Incredibles is super good. Elastigirl is an awesome, very complex mom. One of my favorite films is My Family by Gregory Nava. And Jennifer Lopez plays the mom.
Oh,
that's a great character.
I'm not familiar with that one. Awesome.
Yeah, she like goes on this, you know, journey to return to the U.S. after like an illegal deportation during the Depression. She is deported while pregnant and has to travel back to Los Angeles with her baby. And that's a major part of the film. Really good film. And all the Gregory Nava stuff is amazing. I can't leave out Terminator 2.
Yeah.
A good one. I like Brave. I like Lady Bird.
Yeah.
Great mom. I love their arguments. Some of the scenes are them yelling at each other. There's one that came to mind called The Triplets of Belleville.
I love The Triplets.
That's a great mom.
Yeah.
She like helps. That's a great character. And then Women's Sports Festival sent out an email today
Oh,
and
cool.
had a great list too. And I was
Oh,
like, I already watched a few of them. So
oh,
like Run Mama Run is about Sarah Brown. She's an Olympic runner, and she got pregnant um, and had her baby about 12 weeks before the qualifier for the Olympics. And it's this 5-part series of shorts, and it's so good about how she does it and like what happens along the way. And then another one they shared was Women Are Mountains. It's some Brazilian rock climbers
oh
who,
yeah, it's a very amazing film.
yeah, and that's a short. I watched
Yeah.
that today. And then I just started watching Raising Dion.
Oh yeah, I only saw the first episode of that, but I really liked it.
I think that's going to be a good one about moms too. So those are my Mother's Day picks. Oh, one more. Murata.
Hmm.
It's Murata, How Mum Decolonized the Screen. It's from New Zealand. It's by a filmmaker named Happy Murata. It is so good. His mother is a famous New Zealand filmmaker and had a very large family. And after she passed away, Happy um, made this film out of all of this archival footage of her life and her work, and it is so beautiful. And I think it's still on Netflix. I think, but that went to Sundance. It's such an amazing film.
Awesome. Great. Well, those are fantastic. So for those of you, I saw some folks that just joined us. Heidi Craig Cabra, who really helped, was my partner in crime for many years with Real Stories in the Bay Area and has helped with Real Stories in LA. And I are just talking about the depiction of mom in media and like the moms behind the scenes and on the screen. So we're excited for this conversation. Yeah, there was a few films that I was thinking about that I've gotten to see recently, and television shows that I had that I really, really have enjoyed. But it was like hard to find and remember films that I really liked. I also am both an adoptive mom and a biological mom, so like also finding stories that are accurate around adoption stories is basically impossible. Those moms are almost always like white saviors, like The Blind Side, which is a fine movie, but so I was thinking like The Mom and Lion is a really amazing depiction of a mother, of Nicole Kidman's story of her adopting 2 sons from India, and really it's his story, but just the complex nature of being an international adopted mom that wants to support their children connecting with their homeland, which I think is actually a really common story, and we so very rarely see that story anywhere. That normally some sort of conflict between adoptive and biological parents, when most of the time there's a pretty strong triad there.
Right.
So
And that's
then
drama.
huh?
It's just easy drama for some maybe easy storytelling.
Yeah, I haven't seen Little Fires Everywhere, the series, but I read the book and I was really disappointed in the book because it was like a real easy setup. I know people love that book, between like a conflict between a biological and adoptive parent in a really like tropey, not very great way. That's my opinion. But a film I saw recently, and I love the book and I love the movie even more, is Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I don't know if you've seen that. Also, Kate Blanchett playing Bernadette, which is just a really creative mom, a star architect who has a child, and then the child's getting older, and like, where is she in this world, right? Like, where does she belong now that her daughter is like, she's done her job and her daughter doesn't need her anymore as much, anymore. So it's really, really amazing. My favorite film, and I think it's got 2 great moms in it, is Whip It, Drew Barrymore's film about roller derby. I think it's like fantastic because it allows it's a similar like story of like the ladybird mom, or Real Women Have Curves mom, or there's like a mom daughter conflict where like the mom wants what's best for her daughter but like maybe doesn't say it in the right ways all the time or comes over very domineering. Around animated films with good mom protagonists, even though she's kind of a small character, is the Mom in Ponyo. Like, I think that she gets she's very she's a flawed character, which I think is great. Like, her partner is out at sea and she's trying to like deal with everything at home and a mermaid and all that.
Yeah.
So, and two, like, another person who's been part and big supporter of our community is Nigel Newman, and her film Jin. I think the mother-daughter relationship there is really interesting, and the mother is a really fantastic character. So if you have haven't had a chance to see that. And I also think the mom in The Hate You Give is really great, of trying to like raise her children in sort of two sort of worlds, of like the neighborhood they live, and then the posh school that they go to, and dealing with like a, obviously a police brutality issue as well. So those are some of my film recommendations. There are a lot of moms in the world, and the fact that we're almost always erased or diminished or murdered off or killed, or like, doesn't really bode well for our society on a whole. Like we actually are around and often sort of kind of key players in people's lives. Not everybody. Lots of people don't have moms or don't have great relationships with their moms. I understand that, but you do feel like it's a shame that it is not, we don't get like a fully fledged character very often.
Yeah, I watched this great film that just came out called The Half of It that I really love. It's on Netflix right now, and I super loved it. Got all the way to the end, and then realized, wait, the mom's dead in this. Like, at the end, like I was so comfortable with it the whole time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean like there doesn't need to be a mom character for me to love a film.
Yeah.
But when there's enough of this coming up, that then you get this weird shiver, like, wait, what's happening?
Right.
What does this mean in the end? And so like flipping through different streaming services looking for something to watch, like it can kind of sink in.
But I do, like, even with like Captain Fantastic and talking about it with my husband, who's also a filmmaker, he's like, well, but that would be a different movie if she was alive. And I'm like, yeah, but that could be a good movie too. Like, like you're right. It would be a different movie, but that doesn't mean that it would be a bad movie. In fact, it could be a really interesting movie, but it's just not often explored in that way. Well, now we have some cool stuff to watch for Mother's Day weekend. Definitely supporting, the badass moms in our own community as well. So, Amy Adrian's Half the Picture. I think she had 2 little boys when she made that film. Sarah Marshman, Losing Side Shore, and Nevertheless, and The Empowerment Project, and Brenda Chapman's Brave.
Yes.
Is like one of our favorites. So, I'm excited to like explore some of it. And if you get a break at home, or if you're giving your mom a break at home, maybe suggest some movies that she can watch. But also, like, let us know if there's movies that we missed, because I went through our whole DVD library this morning to like try to see if anything else jogged my memory. I was like, nope, dude, dead mom, dude.
I know.
Dude,
the same thing, and I found a lot of dead moms. Like Contact is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I found The Breakfast Club and The Descendants. And what else? Warm Bodies, Amelie, Juno. Like, I was like, no. Like,
is there a dead mom in Juno?
I think her mom.
No, because the mom is the.
No, that's her stepmom.
Oh, that's her stepmom.
But a great stepmom character.
Yeah, great stepmom character.
I can't criticize.
Yeah, no, Juno is like, and also a very good, like an interesting and lovely portrayal of adoption in a way that feels, obviously very quick-witted, but, more true to life.
No, I do love that film. Watch Juno.
Yeah. Diablo Cody wrote that film. Yeah, so again, a woman in the writer's room. So fantastic. All right, Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today. This is awesome discussion. Thank you guys all for joining us. Thanks again, Heidi. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, thank you guys so much for joining for our What to Watch on this Friday for Mother's Day weekend. Again, as a reminder, follow us on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for our newsletter. If you can, make a donation or ask others to make a donation to us so that we can continue doing this. We're really grateful for all of you that have been helpful and supporting us in so many ways. We really could not do this without you. So it's been really fun. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday.